2019 is off to a pretty great start with this winter anime season. We've got hotly anticipated adaptations, new episodes of favorites from previous seasons. We've got compelling stories, beautiful animation, action, drama, comedy, horror, and I'm not going to talk about any of that. Hi, I'm Kid Yuki, and I want to talk to you about anime openings. Not the animation sequences. People far more qualified and more Pope-like than myself have made plenty of videos talking about animation quality, symbolism, hidden little spoilers. I just want to talk about the songs. See, just like anime themselves, songs can have tropes, they can have crutches, they can have production that's great or not so great. They can be new and innovative or classic and by the books. In general, you can tell when someone who worked on a song truly cared versus when it was just a paycheck. And considering how anime has a much closer relationship to music than most other visual media, I think these songs deserve a bit more focus. So with all that said, this is Top OP, the show where I list and review my top 10 anime opening songs of the season. Now these reviews are going to be totally irrespective of the anime. I'm not going to talk about how the song relates to the opening sequence. I'm not going to talk about how the song relates to the series as a whole. This is all just going to be about how good I think the songs are by themselves. It's winter 2019. Let's get started. Quick disclaimer, these reviews and rankings are purely based on my opinions. I'm not saying don't send me your rage-fueled comments, I'm just saying that while you're angrily typing, at least take a second to think about the fact that we can have differing opinions. Okay, thanks! Soranone by Zaku. Off to a great start. The opening to Koya Kotobuki Hikotai, or the Magnificent Kotobuki. This song hits you in the face immediately with a blast of horns and a stampede of drums. Then it quickly shifts from swung jazz to kind of vaudeville to what I would consider to be a more typical anime song melody and chord structure that just happens to have a swung jazz beat underneath. It's fun, it's fast, it's crazy, so why is it only at number 10? Well, quite frankly, I feel like this song doesn't know what it wants to be. There are some clear attempts at some Old West sort of sounds, the slide guitar, the whistling, the honky-tonk piano, but it's interspersed with these jazzy sections and rock sections, and it all ends up feeling incohesive and kind of jarring. I wish they would have picked one or two styles and worked more on having them blend together better. And by the way, that one section that comes in at the end of the chorus is straight out of this game from No Game No Life, right? I can't be the only one who thought that. Okay, this is still a really fun song. The production is good, the drums are insane. The vocalist, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce again, has a voice that's strong and fits the song really well. Everything's well mixed. Sure, it's at the bottom of this list, but it's still way better than most of the OPs from this season. I'm already giving up on saying both the Japanese and English anime titles, so Kodo from Magical Girl SPEC-OPS ASUKA. Okay, this one is ridiculous. I actually really didn't like the beginning of this song when I first heard it, and I still wish they hadn't used that obnoxious synth patch. Now, as a guitarist, I of course appreciate that sweet-ass hammer-on riffage going on. I just feel like everything in this part is too compressed and in your face. However, if you can get past the first few seconds, you get this poppy, funky, kinda disco-y rock song. You occasionally get some much more pleasant, kind of shimmery synths peppered in, along with some more metal-tastic guitars. The vocals are pretty, there are some nice harmonies throughout, and other than my gripes about the intro, the song is pretty well mixed. I do think the verse melody is a little too busy to be catchy, a few too many syllables, a few too many notes. It's not really something I'm going to end up humming to myself while driving to work. The chorus melody is on the busy side as well, but the notes are spaced out just enough to catch my ear way more effectively than in the verse. In fact, the chorus is not unlike something you might find in a baby metal song, that catchy poppiness mixed with that dark, heavy sort of edge. It's the kind of chorus I imagine a whole stadium full of Japanese fans pumping their fists to. Of course, the whole thing ends with more of that goddamn synth sound. Honestly, if that was removed or changed to a slightly different sound, this thing would probably be a couple spots higher on this list. But as it stands, it's still pretty solid overall. Probably gonna catch some flack for this, but I am not crazy about Overworld's sound as of late. Like, I know people love Odd Future, and I like it too, but even that one took me a while before I was able to stand it. Of course, the full version didn't help things. I complained about the beginning of the last song being too compressed, but damn, over-compressed and overproduced seem to be the defining qualities of the music they're making right now, and Touch Off really typifies that. Every instrumental part feels so manipulated and artificial. Every drum hit feels like it's being slammed at full force right next to your ear. But despite all that, it's just It's so damn catchy and energetic. Mixing be damned, I can't help but have fun when I hear this song. The melodies are well written. Those crazy high notes Takuya hits over and over again are electrifying. I mean, hell, there's a sax solo in the first 20 seconds of the song. I can't help but respect that. And I mean, come on, when the hook first comes in, at na 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 na, I just can't help it. I think that's really all there is to say. Okay, the part where the deep voice guy says fire, that's pretty stupid. This new Kakegurui opening is awesome. It sounds like every instrumentalist involved had a blast during the recording session. The drums, the piano, the guitar, the strings, it all sounds fun as hell. You got this little marimba bit that gives way to this crazy piano, and then the rest of the band comes in with this frantic drum beat, and then they bring the crazy piano back and add in some equally crazy electric guitar. Ooh, and the power when that chorus hits. This is Kakegurui, so I assume this whole thing is supposed to feel like the exhilaration of gambling, but to me it feels more like running down a hill with the wind at your back, adrenaline pumping, heart racing. It's just that kind of frenetic energy pretty much the whole way through. I guess my only criticisms of this song have to do with the vocals, and I'll tell you right now, these are nitpicks. I'm not at all saying Junna doesn't do a good job. She absolutely does, and I think her voice fits the song very well. It is a little on the weak side when it comes to some of those lower notes in the verse, but again, that's a nitpick. Also, I would say the melody lines are good, not great. Like, there's some cool lines in the verse, but at times it feels a bit like a bunch of ideas were just thrown together that aren't the most cohesive. The chorus is also good, like I would call it decently catchy, but not amazing. Like, those held notes are fine. They're not quite high enough to be super powerful and cathartic, but they're still good. They still sound good. I don't know, does it sound like I'm reaching? I have to give some justification for why this song is only at number 7. Look, this is a great song. Ultimately, I just thought every song above it was either more enjoyable or more interesting. In case you thought every review in this video was going to contain the words fast, crazy, or fun, here's BOOGIEPOP and Others OP Shadowgraph by Myth and Royd. This song could probably get a spot on this list on feel alone. This thing is so creepy and unnerving. The haunting vocal melody, the atmospheric synths, the piano in the pre-chorus that sounds straight out of a horror movie. And yet the cello is playing a sad and sweet counterpoint line. The vocals are actually kind of catchy. And that electro swing drum beat is totally infectious. The whole thing is strangely enchanting. It's as if the song is assuring you that you should throw away your worries and dance to the beat even though you deep down know that something horrible is lurking in the shadows. I guess the only negative thing I have to say about this song has to do with the mixing. The vocals are EQ'd in such a way that they sound thin and wispy, which adds to the off-putting feel of the song, but they can often get lost if either the vocals get too quiet or the instruments get too loud, and this is especially apparent in the chorus. But overall, it's no surprise that this song is connected to the BOOGIEPOP name. It's equal parts weird and beautiful, and I absolutely love it. It's pretty well established by now that if the anime you're watching has more than one main female character, there's a good chance the opening or ending song will feature all of the main voice actresses singing. It's a novel concept, or it would be if it hadn't been absolutely done to death over the last 5 years at least, probably way more than that. By now it's practically expected. I mean, if I watch a new anime that I know nothing about, and I hear more than one female singer in the opening song, my first thought isn't, this is super cool, it's, they're doing that thing again, alright. Not to say that songs done this way can't be good, and I certainly see the appeal of hearing your favorite girl singing some silly or heartfelt lines. However, I feel like this is often used as a gimmick to just make otherwise forgettable pop songs more marketable. Fortunately, the KEMONO Friends 2 opening is not just a gimmick. Well, okay, it is a gimmick, but it's still a good song. This thing comes in right away with that jazz swing and actually sticks with it. See, this is exactly what I was talking about when I was critiquing the Kotobuki OP for being all over the place. Sure, the drums in this song aren't as cool as in the Kotobuki song, but Japari beat feels way more stylistically cohesive because it's got that sweet, sweet jazz all the way through. The drums, the piano, the horns. The vocals don't exactly break the mold as far as idol group style music, but everything is still very well done. It's cute, it's lighthearted, it's mixed well, the vocal performances are solid, a lot of the verses are spoken, but that chorus melody is very catchy. Honestly, I knew I was going to love the song at 10 seconds in when the girls are all shouting different character names, and when they call out, Sabaru, she goes, Nanikore, Nanikore, as if the song started and no one told her she was part of it or something like that. Yeah, this thing is super fun from front to back. Cute, catchy. I believe it's what the kids these days would call Moi Moi Kyun. And I'm not usually one for super cute idol songs, which is going to make my next pick even more confusing. So yeah, Bermuda Triangle, colorful pastrale? Is that even? I don't think that's a word. I don't think that doesn't even sound like a word. Okay, I just looked it up. Apparently it's Romanian and means keep. The more you know. So this is an anime about Romanians? No, apparently this is an anime about mermaid idol characters from Cardfight Vanguard, which just... What? Yes, this is another song where all the voice actresses are singing, which I guess makes more sense in this case since it's an idol anime. I don't know, based on the visuals I've seen, the anime looks pretty generic, but this song is fire. Sweet, sugary, saccharine fire. Like I said, this kind of music isn't really my cup of tea, but I've got to acknowledge when it's done well, and Wonderland Girl is done very, very well. The melody lines are well constructed, that lulu is cute enough by itself, but it also cleverly breaks up the verse line so it doesn't sound super jarring when each line is sung by a different girl. The mix is also very good. It doesn't fall into that trap a lot of other idol group songs fall into, which is mixing the vocalists so high that you can barely hear the background instrumentation. In this song, everything is actually very well balanced. There's some really nice reverb on the drums and vocals that give the whole song this feeling of being in space, or to be more apropos, like you're in a magical underwater world. This is easily the best idol group song this season, and honestly, one of the best I've heard probably ever. But now it's time for things to really heat up. Let's move on to the top 3. The Rampage from Exile Tribe. What a goddamn amazing band name. Okay, you want to talk about well-made pop songs? Down by Law is near perfect in design and execution. Let's run down the list. You've got that 4 on the floor kick all the way through that makes it hard to not jump up and start dancing. You got catchy verse melody with some sweet harmonies and plenty of space, not too many syllables crowding around. Sexy little rap section, super groovy, super catchy chorus, some kick-ass slap bass, what? Not being in touch with the male J-pop scene, the sound and feel of this song struck me as very similar to some of the groovier K-pop bands. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if I heard this song on a Japanese album from SHINee or maybe 17. The vocal performances are all good, nothing super technical, and no one singer really stands out, but they all blend together well. The mix is solid, the production is great. I love that little bidoo in the verses. Such a nice touch. Obviously this thing is pretty compressed, especially in the chorus, but you kind of have to expect that with a modern synthy pop song, and it's downright tame compared to Touch Off. I don't know, I feel like I should say more, but I can only say every part is good so many times. Yeah, well-deserved number 3 spot. Okay, this video is obviously coming out pretty late into the season, and there's already a fair amount of buzz around this song, so it's probably not surprising to see it so high on my list. And believe me, this thing was practically neck and neck with my number 1 pick. I freaking love this song. The best way I can describe the Domestic Girlfriend opening is that it's sort of like Again from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, except with even more intensity, and I didn't even know that was possible. By that I mean they both have this unique ability to rock super hard without the need for really distorted guitars. Most of it just comes down to the drum groove and the awesome delivery from Minami and Yui respectively, but hang on, I don't want you going into this thing thinking that it's just a copy of Again. There are plenty of anime opening and ending songs that sound like they're straight up clones of one another. Hell, I can probably think of a good dozen songs off the top of my head that clearly want to be crossing field from Sword Art Online, but that is not what is going on here. Let's break this thing down. From the very beginning of Kawaki wa Ameku, you can hear in Minami's voice that the character behind the song is bitter and jaded. The first few words sound soft and somber with some soft finger-picked guitar, but when she gets to the end of this opening line, she lets the note linger and her volume starts to swell. She starts to sound a little shaky, almost unhinged, like she could snap at any moment, and just then this huge Latin piano riff comes in, before dropping back down into a verse full of cool cross-stick drum grooves, ringing guitar chords, and these amazing, albeit soft and restrained flows from Minami. And then this whole thing slowly builds and builds, and then she hits this note on the last word just before the chorus. It's less singing and more roaring, like there's so much rasp and it kind of screechily cracks at the end. It's not a metal scream, it's just a very powerful note with a lot of rasp on it. I'm not sure I've heard another Japanese female vocalist do something like this. It's truly impressive, it's truly badass, and it truly gives me freaking chills every time I hear it. From there, we jump right into the chorus, which is this catharsis. The drums and guitar get heavier, the breaking point is past. Now she's like, screw all this, I'm telling you how I really feel. Like, even without knowing much Japanese, I could just tell that's what she was saying. I admit I looked the lyrics up later, but, you know, I was right. By now, you probably noticed that I've barely been talking in musical terms for this review. It's almost entirely been emotional terms, and this is because this song is much more an emotional experience than a musical one, at least to me. Not that the music isn't good, it's not the most flashy or inventive bit of backing instrumentation, but it fits very well. But no, the draw here is Minami's vocals. Again, without even knowing the language, you can feel everything she's feeling with each line. And the chorus has all the emotional payoff of finally telling someone off who's been bothering you for months or years. And if that's not the tightest shit, you can get the fuck. Okay, we are just about to hit number 1. Now, I know some other list shows would take this opportunity to drag out the video even further, talking about runners-up and honorable mentions and that kind of thing. So let's do that. My 2 main runners-up are Egao no Kanata from The Price of Smiles and Michi from Run with the Wind. Remember when I mentioned crossing field clones? Well, Egao no Kanata is basically that, but it's pretty well done. There's a cool violin riff at the beginning, the vocal melodies are decently catchy. The main reasons this song didn't make it into the top 10 were A, the vocals were mixed a little too high, especially in the chorus, and B, there just happened to be 10 more unique and interesting songs. Something that sounds this close to a million other anime songs I've heard before has to be executed damn near perfectly to compete with fresher and less played out sounds. Michi is also not the most unique sounding song. It's a very up-tempo J-rock song that reminds me of Peace Sign from My Hero Academia or I'm Alive from Black Butler, but this isn't really why it lost points. The energy is good, and Taichi Mukai kept things interesting by throwing in a rap section with this kick-ass guitar riffage. I just think the vocal melodies aren't the best, especially in the chorus. I thought the hook was pretty underwhelming. Not to say that the melodies are bad, I just like the melodies in my top 10 more. Now I want to take just another few moments to address a couple songs I expect to hear about in the comments. The first is Rise from Rising of the Shield Hero. Now the beginning of the song is awesome. The vocals are good. The thing that bothers me the most about this song is the super electronic sounding kick drum. That in itself isn't a problem, but I don't think it works well with the guitar and other instrumentation, and especially in the chorus, it's mixed really high. Like, the mix in the chorus is basically vocals, bass drum, everything else, to the point where it sounds pretty empty, actually. The other one is 99.9 from Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. Look, I love this anime to death. If you aren't watching it yet, go watch now. Seriously, you seeing Mob Psycho is more important than me getting a few extra minutes of watch time from my analytics. But okay, despite how much I love this anime, I'm not crazy about either of the opening songs. I think the counting in 99 is kind of silly and the melodies aren't that great, especially in the chorus. It's like one note for most of the time. And that melodic pattern carries over to 99.9. The chorus is much better, but most of the verse is just one note. And the chanting at the beginning and end, they sound so bored. Just, get ready, wake your psyche up, mob. Get ready, take your anger up, mob. It's too bad because the drums and bass in the song are cool as hell. I mean, that slap bass at the beginning, holy shit. It's a shame that it's covered up by all that bored chanting. Alright, enough of me bashing that song. Let's move on to the main event. My number 1 anime opening song for winter 2019 is... That's right, the 1960s samurai manga from Granddaddy Tezuka has a new anime adaptation, and the opening theme is... well, excuse my Franglish, but it's goddamn fucking great! This song sounds so unlike anything else this season, and maybe after repeatedly listening to like 50 of these songs, that's all it takes, but no, let me make my case. This song is a beautiful mix of old and new. Certainly Queen Bee weren't the first to mix electronic and traditional Japanese sounds, but Kaien is definitely an example of the two being blended together very harmoniously. We've got some nice piano at the beginning that sits underneath these delay-laden vocals that seem like they're trapped in some dark void. Then slowly more layers start to appear. A soft jungle beat fades in, then some shimmering synths, then this kick and snare pattern that are EQ'd in such a way that they kind of resemble taiko drums. And all the way through, Abu-chan, who, by the way, also sang Devilman no Uta, is delivering these beautiful vocal lines. Then everything breaks down with these nice guitar arpeggios, and she gives us what I would call TK-level falsetto lines. Like, she gets up there. But it's not super shrill, it's just pretty and emotional, plus the harmony under it makes it sound all the sweeter. And then the drop hits, and it's awesome. The drums are going crazy. There's this cool octave guitar riff, and then there's this little bit of Japanese flute, and this gang vocal section comes in with this kind of traditional Japanese kind of flavor. I'll be honest, it was a little off-putting when I first heard it, but now I sort of love it. This song feels so weird, and yet it's clearly very carefully crafted. The mix is great. Every instrument fills their niche in this song perfectly. And again, Avuchan's vocals are killer from front to back. So there you go, my top 10 for winter 2019. But what do you think? What were some of your favorite songs? Did I miss out on some good ones? Were there ones that I included that secretly suck? Make sure to tell me how much of an idiot I am in the comments. But more importantly, what did you think about this format? This thing is totally new for me, so let me know what you think I did well, what you think I can improve. Did I talk too much or too little about each song? Were there important factors I failed to mention? Should I do a shorter list? Obviously, this video came out super late in the season because I had no idea what I was doing, so my process should get faster as we go along with future seasons. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you didn't know, I do lots of anime and video game covers on this channel, as well as weekly live streams, so maybe hit that subscribe button, maybe check out some of my other stuff. I've got a bunch of social media accounts linked down below if you want to check those out. Are there any songs from this season that you think I should cover? I know I'm super late in the game on this one, but I'm still curious. I think that about does it. So thank you so much for watching. I've been Kid Yuki, you've been awesome, and until next time, keep anime rockin'.